Which profession is highly overhyped? Modeling. Influencers. Attorney. Everyone always immediately thinks criminal trial, but really most lawyers do boring stuff like corporate contracts, real estate, taxes, etc. Even the fun, or stereotypical, don't really experience a ton of exciting trial action. Public defenders spend most of their time on misdemeanors that don't ever result in a jury trial. Prosecutors or ADA probably get those most interesting because of statistics, but even those are mostly plea deals or boring trials. I teach high school drama. Last year we organized for a couple of professional film TV actors who do work with an educational theater company to come and run a workshop. My country is pretty small, so even our most famous actors aren't that famous by international standards, unless they are famous overseas, but it was still pretty cool. I'd seen both actors in a lot of stuff, and they'd both done some international stuff. I was chatting to one of them afterwards. He was telling me about this time he worked with this one really famous actor, how nice she was, etc. I mentioned it must be so cool to work in that industry. He said actually, not really, and explained that he would probably give it up for a steady paycheck. It's really stressful having to constantly audition to be able to do your job and to not always be in work. You might get a movie that pays a decent amount, but then nothing else for over a year. That money runs out fast, especially when there's kids to support. Chefs. Holy shit, chefs. Somehow they got a reputation for being badass. I've known way too many chefs that think overly high intensity and screaming at people is justified because they serve food. I love good food, but I think I'd take my food being maybe 10 worse if there wasn't emotional abuse involved. Also, the hours suck, the pay sucks, and it's a window to a bunch of other negative habits. Streamer. 95 are trash. Tattoo artist. You think yeah, I'd be doing challenging art, but most people want whatever is trending at that moment. It could be Looney Tunes characters, barbed wire, tribal, or arrows. Food influencers. They take 3 bites, smile, and suddenly we're all paying $50 for a croissant with positive vibes. Professional athlete. You're under constant stress, like even in your sleep, and when you retire you're left with life-changing injuries. Chef. Hours and stress are terrible. It's not actually an appreciated profession either. Engineering. Too demanding, too saturated. Too much workload for little pay at entry level. Influencers. Digital marketing entrepreneurs are a joke. Like it's literally funny. Very clearly not making 6 figures a month. Many lawyers make very money while their jobs are very high stress. Vet tech. Yes, it was rewarding, yes the pay is shit, and yes I went to school for that. But overall, the pay is shit. In East Asian countries, flight attendant. Especially in IT, any position that's sold as a golden ticket to an income. Any profession with social media, streamers, singers, actors. Don't get me wrong, some of these people are amazing, but that's what others forget. They are still just people. Some humans act like they are gods from another dimension, like they are saints sent to be prayed to. If Taylor Swift stood right in front of me, I'd think that's very cool. But I wouldn't treat her like she cured my grandma's cancer. This comment sounds hateful, but it's not meant that way. I just think they are overhyped. They deserve to be hyped, very much so. Especially those who donate a lot to charity. But they are overhyped in many cases. We are all human in the end. We are the same. Doctors, especially in Asian country. People worship them like it's the pinnacle of occupation. And some of them docs became very arrogant as well. Doctors. Specifically anything to do with complex surgery. They have to go to school the longest and normally go into the most student debt. The curriculum is arguably the hardest. They delay being able to make any sort of money until they are 30. They start out with shitty pay when they do residency. And worst of all, they have to deal with the guilt of sometimes failing to save somebody. There's been studies that doctors are the most depressed people out of all professions. The only compensation is the high salary. Yet, so many families and parents will push their sons and daughters to be doctors.